Oh, you mean Brian, the chairman?
No, I honestly, God, I don't believe I could, the way he knew the budget.
They've got a lot of balances that he works around the city.
I'm not taking
I had to go to
He's been
Newport.
out working. Was it bad?
Oh, yes.
I mean, it looked like. I call this meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. First order of business will be to have a prayer and pledge of allegiance. I think Commissioner Bales is going to lead us in prayer, and Mark Chambers will lead the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. We just want you to bless this meeting and let us work together and do what's best for the county. We ask for your grace and your mercies that you continually give to us, and we thank you for that. Lord, let us just do what's best for the county and the citizens of the county tonight. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next order of business is a review of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look those over, and are there any questions? Do I have the right draft of this because I had some date issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be in here.
I got 2 copies of one of these.
That's okay. One of those is your person beside, or that was, I put it his spot.
Okay.
And then
okay.
there's also the, I think it's the other one.
All right. I will note that Chairman is not here at this point. He expects to be here within the next 15 or 20 minutes. We do have a quorum without him present, so we can continue on with the agenda and conduct business. What's yours, your name? What's yours, your name? You don't want to use it? No. Don't need no microphone. We have minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over them? We had a correction on the date. I think that now is corrected, so we do have correct dates on the minutes. Are there any questions, comments about the minutes? Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We do not seem to have any input forms for citizen comments. Are there any citizens that wish to comment? Okay. Next item on the agenda is determination if a flying squirrel trolley cable ride is an allowed use in the A1 Agricultural Forestry District. Is anyone here to speak to that issue?
And we've not heard from him, so I would say we'll postpone that one.
All right. Could I get a motion to postpone?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to postpone
All right, motion made by
it.
postponement. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, and a second has been made. All in favor say Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the next item on the agenda is a request for a 5.5-foot variance for a side setback on a metal building that was constructed too close to the property line on an existing concrete slab. This is at 1576 Smoky View Drive. Is anyone here to speak to that?
Yep, we're here.
You can just come forward to the podium. If you would like to, just explain what it is you're doing and why.
We just need the 5.5-foot variance. That was my mistake when I came down to get the permit, and I misunderstood how from the property line. I was thinking it was just from our neighbor's roof line, and so that was my part that I messed up on.
Does anyone have any questions?
Looks like it's, what is it, 2? How far off the property line is it?
It's about now from the property line. It's about 1.5 to 2.
We thought it was 7 foot from the house. We didn't realize it was from the property line and the house. So that's where we made our mistake. So we're 7.5 from the house, but the property line, obviously, it's quite close to the property line.
Exactly.
We just-
To our
It was
neighbor's
just
property.
an honest mistake. We didn't realize it was from both. We only thought it was from one side there.
You got concrete floor.
It was poured before we moved there. Yes, ma'am. It was already pre-existing.
Oh, it was already
Yes.
pre-existing.
So we just covered
We just
the-
built it on the pre-existing
yeah.
concrete.
I see.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Was there a building on it before?
No, sir. It was just a slab.
Just a slab.
The gentleman before us stored his boat on it. So,
Okay.
He did have a fence.
yeah, there was a fence
The
around
fence,
it.
yeah. It was breaking down. Yeah.
You have any comments? Anyone like to question, raise any questions about this or have questions about it?
No. It's already constructed, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the variance.
All right, there's a motion to approve the variance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And there is a second by Mr. Dixon. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
The next item on the agenda is a variance request of 15 feet for a front setback on a new house being constructed in Dandridge Landing on lot number 2, Persimmon Orchard Drive. John Baker and Dana McLean, are you here?
Yeah,
And I assume you are John.
no, I'm the builder.
Oh, you're the builder?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to explain the variance and the need for it,
Yes,
please?
the lot just slopes quite a bit, we need to scoop the house up. And there's, multiple houses in the subdivision that already have the variance.
Stephanie,
Yes, go
are
ahead.
are you familiar with other variances for the
Yes.
same issue in
We
the same
did one just a
subdivision?
couple months ago in the same subdivision.
Okay.
We've done numerous in that subdivision.
That was one steep frame out there for sure.
Yeah, that is like property, I presume.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions?
You're gonna be where the other house is.
I'm sorry?
You're gonna be where the other houses are.
Yes,
You've already received a variance.
yep.
Are there any other questions?
No.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
There is a motion for approval by Mr. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second
And a second by Ms. Springfield. All in favor, please say aye.
it.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a variance request of 2.09 feet for a side setback at 504 Wells Spring Road. Is there someone here
Yes, sir.
to speak to that?
So we're looking to get a change of use permit for an existing garage, all walls up, slab up, it's been pre-existing from when I bought the property. Looking to convert it into one bed, one bath, for our Mimi. Looking for a 2 foot and a fraction, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's that small square up at the top of the screen. I got a more recent, they had to go back and update the numbers, surveyor was very rough to deal with.
Right. That is a separate garage structure.
Yes.
Who is your surveyor?
TNLDS Timothy J. Howe.
Comments?
Not
Commissioners,
changing
do you have any
footprint or anything.
questions? I will entertain a motion.
So you're not changing the footprint at all?
No, footprint's staying the same. We're building a deck off that left side,
Yeah.
but our footprint's staying the same.
Yeah, just an open deck.
Yeah, open deck, yeah.
As long as 10 foot, 985. I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
We have a motion by Mr. Dixon to approve the variance. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Sue Springfield. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us down to item 11, which is adjournment. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to
We
adjourn.
have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
That
And
motion.
a second by Mr. Dixon. Motion approved, and we are adjourned. Noise. Squeak.
Squeaky wheel. I call to order this meeting of the Jefferson County Regional Planning Commission. The first order of business is to review the minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
So moved to approve.
Yes.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Second is, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. So the minutes are approved.
Randy.
And again, I do not have any citizen input forms. Is there someone that wants to speak, wishes to speak? No? Okay. All right, the next order of business is a final plat approval for Mountain View Estates. Is there someone here?
Yes, sir.
How are y'all? Good.
I'm happy to be here.
Me too.
I don't know, it's supposed to be quiet.
She doesn't want it.
So she's happy to be here.
Brian has arrived, we make a note of that.
You sure have.
Okay.
Hello, folks.
Nice.
Glad to see you.
Good to be here. Oh, let me get that for you.
Thank you.
And he's done a fabulous job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Hello, man. Ladies, pardon my tardiness. Okay, Dave, where we at, sir?
We are on Mountain View Estates, I'll close my book.
Okay, I see that.
Item A under new business.
Okey-dokey.
For regional planning, we're already through with BZA.
BZA. Good deal. Everything went smooth on that, I suppose. What we did.
We had a few train wrecks, but other than that, it was okay.
That goes along with this today. It does. Okay, Mr. Fair. I'm gonna, let Mrs. Bowen speak with you about the concerns she's got. I think you may be already aware of some of those that we've got going on, and just kind of let you know where we're at with things.
Good.
I'm assuming you received a copy of my comments.
I did.
Okay.
Well, I received an email yesterday at 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
As described last month, I believe, I kind of laid out what the procedure by Tennessee Code requires
Okay.
for public infrastructure that is proposed to be accepted as, or private infrastructure that is proposed to be accepted for public maintenance. So this would be accepted as a public street at some point in the future.
Exactly.
And that process is very specific in state law. Only the Planning Commission has authority to approve the road and drainage construction plans prepared by a licensed and sealed set of plans from a licensed engineer.
Yes.
Prior to construction. Prior to construction. As I understand it, the roads are complete, and there has been no review of the road and drainage plans by this body. I do understand that
The road superintendent.
I understand that by state law, the road superintendent does not have authority to do that.
Okay.
Only the planning commission has authority to do that. And I know you've had a licensed engineer and a licensed surveyor to walk you through the process to date. They are licensed in the state of Tennessee, so I know they know this process. So that is still of great concern to me. To give you a timeline, after the last meeting, the construction drawings were submitted to Stephanie. And I looked at those. It was an unsealed set of construction drawings. So I advised Stephanie to contact, I mean, you were the surveyor, and get a sealed set of construction drawings. And we did get that.
Okay.
I understand that, so I reviewed those. I also looked at the certifications from the water utility district and the electric utility district. I think we did receive written approval from the county road commissioner today. In the water utility districts and the electric utility districts, there was a disparity in the number of lots that they certified as being approved.
On which one, I'm sorry?
The letters from the electric utility and the water utility. I think there are 66 lots.
There is 66 lots, yes.
Reference on the final plat, both of those referenced a different number of lots. I don't know if it was a typo or what it was, but I did note that. There's a certificate and compliance is required with regard to stormwater management. So the subdivision regulations, just to give you an idea, the subdivision regulations are 49 pages long. There are several articles. Articles 3 and 4, which are titled General Requirements and Standards of Design, and Development Prerequisite to Final Plat Approval. And those articles range from page 11 to page 24. So it is the bulk of the subregs. Nothing in that section is in your compliance with.
Can you say that again?
Yes.
I'm not in compliance with any of what?
I'm just saying that from page 11 to page 24 are the details for construction of sewer lines, water lines. You don't have sewer, for water lines, roadways, and electrical infrastructure. But specifically because the county is the receiver of the roadways, the roadways are paramount important.
Absolutely. I agree.
And they have not been reviewed or approved by this body.
Okay.
When I look at them, and I'm not a licensed engineer,
Okay.
but these are the things that, one of the big omissions, which is in Article 4, it is the stormwater control. So a hydraulic study is supposed to be performed, and the rate of post-development runoff is supposed to be compared with your pre-development rate of runoff.
And I have that report.
Now, that has not been reviewed or submitted. So you have over 70 acres, I believe, of in total in the subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
And that is currently, or prior to this, was totally filled.
Exactly.
100% permeable surface.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, other than one barn, but yeah.
But between now you've constructed roadways. The roadway network is pretty extensive.
Mm-hmm.
There will be 66 lots that will have rooftops. There will be 66 lots that have driveways, paved parking areas, and just anecdotally, you guys seem to have a lot of pavement where you park because of the size of your vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. So the post-development rate of runoff is a high percentage of impermeable surface compared to what was 100% pervious surface. So that post-development rate of runoff should be detained on site in detention ponds.
Okay. So can I ask this? I'll hire an engineer. He designs this thing. I build it as per his design, exactly as per his design. I mean, we done grade control off of satellite grading. I mean, this thing's toned in with this job. I mean, we know wherever rock is on this job. And so I go build it. I do it like he says. And now I'm faced with, it sounds like there's a design problem.
There is a design problem. And it is not a problem of this body. It is a problem in that whoever your consultants are did not follow the subdivision regulations. I should tell you that I also work on that side of the table. I work for a firm that does a lot of subdivisions. This is standard operating procedure for licensed engineers and licensed surveyors. So there is even a requirement in the subregs under the general requirements for a final plat. And it requires your licensed engineer to put a signature block that the post-development rate of runoff does not exceed the pre-development rate of runoff, which cannot be possible unless you're detaining your stormwater on site.
Well, he tells me that open ditches with riprap and riprap outfalls is better than catch basins because you're going a lot faster going down pavement than you are down ditches.
Which is the reason you detain it. It is a engineering feature on site that collects the stormwater so that it's the pre-development rate is maintained downstream. So there's only two ways to address that. You can either detain it on site or you can go downstream and upsize every culvert until it reaches a natural drainage way that can handle the runoff. One or the other, but you can't just do nothing. And especially for 70 acres. that have gone from 100% permeable surface to a high degree of impervious surface. It will flood either downstream roadways, downstream properties, downstream houses, garages. That opens up a lot of liability, and if it gets on a roadway and you have issues with people hydroplaning, or in winter where you have a lot of rain and then it freezes very fast, that is a very dangerous situation. As far as the roadway construction, there's a cross section on 3.1 of your construction drawings. There is a cross section. The cross section references both curb and gutters and open ditches. As I understand it from you, you only did the open ditches.
I did.
So you did not do curb and gutter, and you did not do catch basins?
No.
Or any pipes?
Because it wasn't designed.
It is on your plans and it is in your cross section. Now, the interesting thing that I find is that your engineer put a cross section with both on there. There are curbs and gutters and there is ditches, which is obviously not what you built, but which is good, but it should have been one or the other. Also, the pavement detail, which is on the general requirements of your road design standards. This is in Article 4, Item E, which requires, that's the depth of base, the amount of binder, and the depth of your top coat. That's very specific in the subregs. That is nowhere on your plans. The cross section says see detail, and there is no detail. I've tried twice to call your engineer, and it said leave a message, and then it said his message box was full, so I never did talk to him. The
I
base
can have
is,
him on speakerphone. He's waiting.
sir, the base requirement is 5 inches, the binder is 2 inches, your top coat or wearing course is 1.5, and 6-inch curves with 20-inch gutters. There isn't
You
really
don't require gutters.
we don't, but
Okay.
you put them on, they were on the plans, so that is a requirement. If you put them on the plans, it did not comply with these details.
But there's also a note on the plans, I'm pretty sure, that says you can do either one.
Then you should have shown one or the other, but not both. And as far as the required depth of base, binder, and top coat, there's nothing on the plans that specify those that specify those criteria.
But
that
the
should
road
have-
superintendent inspected while we were working, and it's there. He signed off on it. You have that?
Once again, the subdivision regulations is an adopted document by the Planning Commission. By Tennessee code, only the Planning Commission has the authority over these. This review should have been done before you drop the blade on the property. And it obviously is not. So based on this, my recommendation would be that your engineer submit as-built drawings, and that a hydrologic drainage study be completed on site, and that whatever that study shows as far as your post-development rate of runoff be constructed on site prior to consideration of approval of the plat. And if there is any disparity, then that should be bonded prior to allowing the final plat to be recorded.
Here is the storm. I understand this took several days for their computer system to generate. This is for Mountain View Estates. The engineer tells me a lot of it don't mean anything to me, but the engineer tells me that it shows that it's either post-construction, it's either right at it, it can go up to 10%. That's what he says. I don't know. He said everything's within compliance of post runoff. I also have a letter from Lee Yates. They went out to the site. They had somebody called from the subdivision down below here a couple weeks ago when we had that heavy storm during the weekend, about I think 4 or 5 inches. I think road superintendent said y'all had 5 inches in some place, right? Anyway, so they called Lee, which he called me and said, I've had a complaint. I said, I'll go by and check it out. I've worked with Lee for years. And I went and checked it out. I actually called the gentleman. I was going to call the gentleman. He called me. I talked to him. I said, our engineer's saying that we're not dishing any more water off the site post-construction as pre-construction. So he was real nice. I told him I'd come down and meet with him sometime if something I need to do to help him, whatever we need to do. And so Lee sent some people out a couple days later. I've got the email right here in my thing. I can share it with you. That says that he sent his associate out, and due to a flooding complaint, and he's seen no issues with the runoff of our subdivision causing a flooding problem. Would y'all like to see that letter? I mean, it's right here.
That's, don't doubt a bit you have it, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Catherine.
Oh, I'm done. My
okay.
recommendation is
I think the information you have with the stormwater, what has to be on the final plat approval and stuff, with the signatures and the block, I think it's some stuff we need to have in hand to have a chance to look at and go through to make sure things are right, instead of trying to do it tonight in 10 or 15 minutes standing here, or sitting here, rather. And I don't doubt a bit that you've got what you say you've got at all. I would like to ask for that to be turned in to Stephanie and stuff, and give us opportunity to review that.
Okay.
And with the signature block on the final plat from the engineer about the stormwater, that has to be on that final plat before we can approve it.
Okay.
So we need to get that done and get that turned back in. Catherine, what else am I leaving out here? And
so again, this is item 4 under Article 4. Stormwater detention may be required for any single-family residential subdivision consisting of 5 acres or 10 lots for street to propose. The development will be required to use generally accepted standards and procedures for calculating the release of stormwater from the site before and after development, and institute control measures on site so that downstream peak discharges at post-development are generally reduced to pre-development conditions. Design criteria for the sizing of detention basins. It doesn't even say if you have a detention basin. It says when you build your detention basins. The design criteria and drain pipes is based on a 24-hour storm of a 10-year frequency under the pre-development conditions of the site, which is 4.88 inches. Stormwater drainage and detention plans shall be integrated into the preliminary subdivision plat, which should have been the document that we saw before you started construction. The SWIP permit is a permit that is obtained from TDOT, and we do have copies of that. That is a process that TDOT goes through during construction to make sure that silt doesn't leave the site. It is a temporary measure, usually consists of black fences and some materials to make sure silt doesn't leave the site. And as far as detention, the two have nothing to do with each other. One is a temporary measure, and the other one is your permanent measure. And there's all kinds of standards to calculate, but this is a 10-year frequency, a 24-hour storm of a 10-year frequency. That's not even like 100 year. That's right. 10. So, and if you have been paying attention to the news, Rutledge flooded yesterday. Last week, Knoxville flooded. And these are areas where the storm events we're getting anymore, they're very intense. The duration is longer. The amount of water being delivered on site is much more. So all I can say is there isn't any detention on site, and I don't understand how your engineer arrived at totally going from 100% permeable to 75% impervious.
Yeah, and maybe he has that in the study he has there.
He tells us that the riprap ditches and the riprap outfalls is better than the
Yeah, they
catch
slow the
basin.
water down,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Slowing the water down.
And also, I was out there today, and I don't know if anybody else has been out there.
I've not been.
But Cerebral, and I'm not gonna say every one, there was one place I had a concern about, but Cerebral, where the drainage runs down the ditches and it follows, it goes under the roads, then he's got tiles, they're shooting it off to the side. They've utilized several depressions and sinkholes that were natural on the property. But these tiles, this water is going into these sinkholes and depressions, so they're definitely gonna slow the water down. I mean, it's gonna catch water, just like any farm, you'll see, you see water build up during a storm, and it'll just soak right back down in the ground.
Absolutely.
And I do know, and on the final map, I can show you where some of them are, because I was out there today looking at them. They're letting their water exit from their ditches. It is going into depressions and sinkholes in 3 or 4 different places through the development. So it is going to catch
Sort of a
and
unique
slow water
property.
down.
I mean,
It
in
is.
that
Yeah,
sense,
and
it's a
that's
unique-
good to utilize that. I
Yeah.
utilize it all the time in development. So, I mean,
Right.
it's
Are
just a
those
natural-
things that he included in that paperwork that you've got?
As far as
Directing the water to those natural sinkholes, natural areas, is that?
well, it's on the plan, yeah.
Okay. I know you have to be borderline frustrated as well as we, because we don't want to see you held up. You've done a lot of work, a lot of effort been put into this point. But we have the certain guidelines that we have to go by. And here's what I would suggest. I would suggest getting all that information to Stephanie just as soon as you can.
Okay.
Letting her get it to us. I would encourage the engineer to have an open line of communication with us, even if Ms. Baldwin needs to get involved in the conversation, willing to talk. And let's get all these things tidied up and get this thing passed next month.
Okay.
I know it's not
It's
the
another
outcome.
month, right?
Yeah. And
It's just 20 grand.
and I am terribly sorry. But, in not trying to point a finger of blame, but if the engineer does the work and they look at the subdivision regs, they know what's supposed to be done, and they know the timely steps that are supposed to be taken to get it to us. So it's, like I said, I ain't saying point a finger of blame at him, but I'd have some questions with him why those things didn't get done when they're in black and white on the subdivision regs. It's available on the internet that everybody has access to. Especially if he's doing what he's doing for a living, he should definitely be looking at them and getting them to us. We want to see you get it done, and we're fans of bucks about it. But we've got to make sure that those checks and balances are in place and are done the way they're supposed to be. So,
Can it be subject to? I mean, we'll do whatever we have to do. We're not here to be bad neighbors. We're here to be good neighbors.
I understand completely, and I wouldn't accuse you of that at all, sir.
If the study requires detention, that would need to be bonded.
Okay.
So,
If it required.
if it requires detention, you could approve the plat and bond the construction of the detention ponds. But somebody needs to give us a sealed opinion of probable cost that this is how much it's going to cost to construct those. And he could bond them. He would also, I think, need to post a maintenance bond because the roadways are done. I personally, I don't know the construction of the roadways in terms of the base and the binder and the top coat. I think somebody needs to state that that was in compliance?
Well, I think Joe signed off on that.
Yeah, he did.
He signed, I mean, they send guys out to inspect whenever we're doing county
He
roads.
proof rolled the whole deal,
Yeah.
the whole road. I mean, not the place, we did 10,000 feet of road.
Right, they do, they come out and inspect.
I think you had a question, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For me, I would like to see the sealed as-built drawings, from an engineer. Just to be comfortable, because I can think of some subdivisions, I think we all probably can, in our county where there has been some issues. So I think we have to do our due diligence here and ensure that everything's being done right. It sounds like you already have a lot of the documentation that's being requested. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to offer a motion to postpone item A to our August meeting to allow time to prepare these documents for review.
We have a proper motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Does that include the hydraulic study?
So it's not subject to.
It's not subject to. The motion is to postpone to August.
I think this stuff's just, I know we've done some subject to or some conditional approvals.
Yeah.
This is a little bit bigger than some of the conditional approvals we've done in the past. Just, 70-acre site, so.
I know it's the conditional preliminary that's got us sitting here tonight.
Yeah.
That's in our heads, right?
Yeah.
This is a final plat.
I know.
Yeah, but we
I said it's the conditional preliminary that is causing us to sit here tonight and stumble. Over this.
Another thing that I want to make sure is.
My motion might.
Hold 1 second before we get any further discussion on that. We have a motion. Do we have a second for postponement of this until the August meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
Okay, we have David seconds. We have proper motion and a second. Now we'll open it up to any further discussion on this. And Catherine, I think you mid-sentence whenever we.
Well, one of the requirements was that there be a signature block certifying the post-development rate of runoff does not exceed the pre-development rate of runoff. Now, we're going to get the hydraulic study, which should meet the requirements of this, but regardless of what happens, that needs to go on the plat, and your engineer needs to sign that and seal it.
Okay.
And he needs to understand he's taking liability.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He takes liability. Sign.
Do we have any further discussion? Any other questions for Mr. Phelan?
So we're asking for signed and sealed final drawings from the engineer
Sign and seal final drawings from the engineer.
with the pre and post runoff
studies.
studies on it,
Yes.
which he already has.
Right. It's just not on the final.
Right, it's not on the final
Not on the
plat, so
final
you're
plat.
asking for that on the final plat, signed on the final plat, and what else?
And you were asking for the as-bills on the roadway.
Yeah, signed by
Built on the
the
roadway.
engineer, which,
Okay.
again,
It's-
I think this will happen fairly
I
simply.
mean, it's there, it's just
Yeah.
a matter of going back and getting that signed. Okay, so we got those two things. And again, I just really encourage an open line of communication. If we find an issue looking at that study with the runoff and somebody reaches out, just have your engineer where he can answer questions or give us the reasoning for what he's come up with.
Well, I would have had him here if I'd have known I was getting an email at 24 hours before this meeting.
Yeah.
I'd have had him here.
Well,
He's in Colorado.
But at the same time, if he'd been doing his work properly,
Well,
you
that's
wouldn't have been
true.
chasing him
That's
down on the
true.
tail end, it'd have been done
That-
beforehand.
That's true.
So that's a lot of his fault there on that. What else we got? Catherine, the as-built on the road, the study, and I'm just trying to get the list of stuff together he needs to have.
Right.
So we can get done.
If detention is required, we will need an opinion of probable cost for a bond
Right.
prior to recording the plat, and that would have to come from his licensed engineer as well.
Right. Of course, the engineer sounds like we have saying it's not needed. So I think once we get a chance to look at them and those questions come up, how did he come to that assumption? Or how did he come to that decision? Is there anything else we're missing? And again, tomorrow, if you can with Stephanie, that way we don't waste a day of this. And we
We'll get it.
get things moving
We'll get it to
and
her.
stuff. Any other questions, concerns? If not, all those in favor of postponing this till the August meeting, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank y'all.
Brian.
Yes.
Our one of our BCA was late.
Okay.
He's in the audience now, the very first item on the agenda for BCA.
BCA is here.
What's your count name?
Okay, fine, swear. Okay, I'm gonna say this, not as a punishment, but let us finish up planning, and then we will go back, as long as the board, we will adjourn this and go back and open the BZA meeting back up. and-
We
Randy.
Randy.
You gotta stay.
We go on a Ruby Tuesdays or something.
Okay, we are to the final, item B on planning commission agenda, final plat approval for 3 lots off Rocky Valley Road, Newmarket by Billy Bull.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Just, I'll try to make mine easy. Parents are deceased and the property has been divided up per my parents being deceased. So the two mobile homes that's on the plat and the residence for the house, it was all on one big plot of property. So just subdividing it, nothing's being built, nothing's being added. It's just subdividing the 3 properties individually. So I went to each department and had them sign verifications for the water and electric and everything, the road, the 911, got all the departments. So basically the property that you see here was all one big plat. So we're just subdividing it up and identifying each lot and just subdividing it up into individual parcels. So like I said, nothing's been added, nothing's being constructed, it's just dividing it up. So we had Eddie Garrett survey it, and he educated me on that you had to have more than 0.9 for a lot for a mobile. So he constructed the plat out to where it exceeded that, and like I said, I went to each department, had verifications for the sewer, the electric, the water, and everything to come here tonight to just get this signed off on to move forward with executing the estate.
So what is the question, the road right away in the middle? It's not a right of way, it looks like it's the deeded.
Yeah, so whenever Eddie put together the survey here, in the middle there's property that goes at the back, so he just put
Okay.
It's a flag lot.
Okay, it's a flag lot, it's 50 foot.
Yeah.
Going back, and how big is that lot?
That lot back here, 19 acres.
19 acres, okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
So he just put it there for, he said that way you have access if you
Right,
ever did.
absolutely,
Like that.
that's correct.
So like I said, it's just to individualize each one, pretty much.
And those houses, the trailers have been there, like.
Yeah, I know the one on lot 1, my grandparents lived there, and it's been there since 1971. Yeah.
Okay, Catherine, I think you had one question on this.
So lot 1 has frontage on the Rocky Valley Road there. Lot 2 does not have any public road frontage. And both 1 and 2, when you look at the aerial, lot 3 lots, the parent tract, the 19-acre tract, and lot 1 and 2 all use the same driveway. So lot 2 is, as presented, is landlocked, but you need an access easement.
It's a 25-foot right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't see it.
You
It's,
can't see it.
there is
it's
25
so
foot
wide.
from here to right here, that little dot, going straight back 25 foot.
Okay.
Yep.
Just hard to see on there, but it is.
That's fine.
I spoke with Eddie about this morning when I looked at it. I
Yeah,
went to
you
Mike's
just can't
office.
see it once the copy.
Yeah,
is
exactly. It's
mailed
just hard to
and
choose.
copy.
Blow it
It
up.
runs down the left side?
Yes.
Yeah,
If
because
you
the driveway's in the
were
middle.
facing it in the road, if you were facing the property standing in the middle of the road, it'd be on the right hand
Right.
side.
Right-hand side,
Yeah,
yeah.
on the right.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it's got an arrow pointing to it, Austin, that says 25-foot private access
Yeah.
easement.
Okay.
It's on the right.
The statement's on the left-hand side of the plat. You got the little squiggly line arrow going over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that take care of that issue?
Yes.
And that's everything that we had on that. Does anyone else on the board have any questions about this page? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve item B.
We have a proper motion. Eddie Bell seconds the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving item B on the agenda, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Bull.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all's time.
Appreciate you. Okay, moving on down the agenda, we are to item C, resolution amending the zoning regulations of Jefferson County, Tennessee to reflect changes in permitted uses in the I-1 and I-2 zoning districts to add developmental standards for material extractions by Mr. David Nelson. David, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As everyone probably recalls, we had a draft of a resolution probably 2 meetings ago, possibly, or one, I can't remember now. Time slips by, but anyway, this resolution is somewhat similar, but also different in some respects. And I guess the first thing I want to do is offer a little oversight on why I am proposing this resolution and what it is. The resolution basically is a recommendation to the Jefferson County Board of Commissioners. It does two things. It's to establish zoning districts for 3 activities: mining, quarrying, and material extraction. The other thing it's trying to accomplish is to develop and establish development standards for material extraction. Part of my motivation in doing this is I've been very, very concerned about health risks from silica dust. There are health risks from that, and it's created by material extraction activities, particularly quarry activities. Breathing crystalline silica dust causes severe health risks, most notable silicosis, lung cancer, and COPD. It is a highly dangerous substance to have in the air and around residences and other activities. The silicosis is an irreversible and uncurable lung disease. So part of my motivation in wanting to do this is the health hazard. There is a health hazard when these activities take place. And so the piece of this resolution that deals with material extraction when this might be triggered and caused is merely to try to balance property rights of residents and farmers and rights for industrial operators. It's a way to try to marry them together so everybody wins, so to speak. When I put this together, as I mentioned probably the last meeting, I've looked at zoning resolutions in several counties, particularly looking at Washington County, Tennessee. So some of the more specific items in this resolution are modeled after Washington County, also Knox County, and Hamilton County. So I've looked at several when I put this together. Before I actually walk through specific provisions of the resolution, I would open the floor to questions from any of the other commissioners about the purpose.
The silica dust you're talking about is basically the dust coming from clay dirt.
It can be from a lot of things.
Yeah.
Of course, clay dirt, rock activities,
Right.
blasting is
Right.
a lot of activities can release the silica dust into the air. And silica dust can travel a long ways.
It can.
I've been trying to get better educated about this as I started working on it. But one of the things I've seen is it can travel up to 50 miles. And Mr. Bells, you mentioned a couple of concerns at the tail end of the last meeting that I did want to address. This resolution does not make any effort to govern mining operations, quarrying operations, or material extraction operations per se. It's really establishing zoning districts and development standards, but not operations per se. As we well know, mining operations, either surface or deep, are governed, and quarrying are all governed by federal law and state law. So there's nothing in this resolution that addresses the operational side of these type of activities. This is merely development standards to try to protect everyone when these activities take place. And there are no general questions. I'm going to walk through this in a similar manner to what I did a couple of meetings ago. Of course, as I mentioned, it's a recommendation to the Jefferson County Board of Commissioners. The first section of this is merely to establish some definitions. These would go into the zoning resolution in the definitions section. It defines what excavation is, what extraction is, what fill dirt is, what a material is, what overburden is, and what a residence is. And to refresh everyone's memory too, when we make amendments to our zoning resolution and we change zoning districts, it has absolutely no effect on current uses under current zoning. So who this would affect would be anyone in the future that wants to engage in a material extraction activity or who wants to establish a quarry or a mine.
What does it include, bar pit? It's defined by the state, you know.
That's the state definition, and it's not contemplated in here. Again, what we're focusing on
Well, I was
here.
just noticing the field dirt thing. I mean,
Right.
you know, the state will get, when they're building roads, especially like, I know Blaylock's got a big one over next to below Bushes there where they've been building the 4-lane. You know, the bar pit, they're mining dirt
Right.
out. And usually, because it's good compaction dirt, and you're building highways, you know, I mean, and you see it everywhere. I think there's one down here on 2570 there.
I doubt if we get any say on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but a lot
If
of
it's the
private
state.
people do it too. I mean, your private developers will, they've got a piece of property and they're building a road over here, building subdivision over here, and they've got dirt over here, they're gonna mine it over here and take it over here. So it will have a say on that, for sure.
Well, that's not, again, that's the operation itself, Mr. Dixon. The reason this is defined, we'll look at this as we go through.
Okay.
There is a provision in the developmental standards that you can't put fill dirt in the setback area. So that's just to define what that means, that is not permitted in the setback area.
Okay.
Not anything to do with the actual operation of the mineral extraction itself.
Can you obtain fill dirt from within the setback?
Can you obtain it?
Yeah. Is that?
Then it would probably be overburden at that point if you're taking it away to turn
Well,
around
what you're
and put
talking
it back.
about, borrow pits. A typical borrow pit, they're, in a lot of places they're permitted, because you see more of that than you do.
You sure you do, you do quarries.
You see that a
Obviously
lot.
you do. Yeah, you see a lot of it.
Right. But again, this is not dealing with operations of a quarry, operations of the mine. That's not what we're dealing with.
Right.
These are
No, I
development
understand
standards.
that.
Right.
I understand that.
Right. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts or questions on definitions? Let's move on to section 2 then. And that section, as you can read, is to amend and remove the term mining as a permitted use, which is now number 4, and to renumber permitted uses. And that relates to I-1 type activities. That's section 9.9. So that's merely deleting it. We'll be putting it back in a later section. The purpose of removing it as an I-1 use is to put it in as an I-2 use. So that's just saying we're going to take it out there and put it somewhere else. On the next page, section 3, that is to amend I-2 to allow these permitted uses. We would add item 11, now 10 items under I-2, to allow as permitted uses mining, quarrying, and material extraction. Those uses shall only be permitted in the I-2 zone. And again, keep in mind, if there's a mining use in I-1 now, it stays grandfathered in. This only is prospective. Well, if it's there, it's there.
Or what if
Anywhere.
somebody in the future, if you got a farm, and you're gonna take dirt off the spot of your farm and put somewhere else, or sell to somebody else, I mean, is that gonna be allowed in A1?
Yeah, if it's not allowed now, this doesn't change that. All this is saying is, in the future, in other words, it's already taking place. It takes place, it doesn't
No,
change.
I don't think I'm getting that.
I want to ask a question here, and let's, hypothetical situation, let's say a person has a large tract of A1 ground. And back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, there were a lot of quarries scattered about, and they're still there. And let's say a person has that piece of ground, and he has one of those existing quarries on it. What effect, if any, would this have on that if he decided for personal use, or if he wanted to sell some of the rock, material, whatever it may be coming out of that quarry? What effect would this have on him, since it's already an established quarry, but it's in A1? Because it's sitting there.
Right,
And
right.
I can take you to a handful of them.
Oh, I know, there's several of them around the
Actually,
county.
But
From my understanding, this is really more a legal question than anything.
Right.
From my understanding, mining and quarrying have their own set of rules.
Right.
As far as grandfathering. And they can have intermittent periods of long years
Right.
where that activity doesn't take place,
Right.
but it's still grandfathered. It could have been dormant for 15 years, and now they start operating because that is the nature of mining.
Right.
You know, mining operates that way. So if you've got a tract of land that's already had that mining use taking place, my understanding is they can sit there for 15 years and then crank it up again and they're fine.
Okay.
So again, what we're trying to do here is affect only prospective uses.
Okay. So everything
That's
moving
the goal,
forward.
moving forward, not to change anything that's already there.
Okay.
That's not the intent.
What, I'm just talking about, if you wanna move dirt off of your farm, that you've never moved dirt off of.
Right. To another farm.
That
Field to.
agricultural uses are exempted in here. I'll point it out to you when we go through.
I noticed that back on the first page.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not intended to try to regulate agricultural activities. Yes, ma'am.
Do you, the grandfathering of a longer period of time, you're saying is that's in Tennessee code? And do you know the section or?
I don't. I hate to quote an attorney when the attorney's not present. That is from the county's attorney there, Grant.
Okay.
He says
Because
that.
normal nonconformities have a 3-year
It's
window.
because it's mining.
Okay.
Mining is unique. And,
Understand.
and part of that is because.
I just want to make
of
sure
it-
that you've checked that because
I have.
I've never heard
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I have checked.
What is the state's definition of mining?
I'm quite honestly not quite sure, but we're not defining mining. This is really not a mining resolution, other than the fact we're saying we want mining to take place in I-2 now, is the only zoning district. In other words, I haven't put anything here that affects mining, or how mines operate.
Well, yeah, I know.
So
If
his
it's
point is
somebody new,
well,
they're gonna have to get it rezoned I-2,
Exactly.
which
Yeah,
ain't gonna happen.
That's the point.
We all, everybody sitting at this table knows that ain't gonna happen.
and I'm concerned about your point. Borrow pits are all over the place.
They're everywhere, that's right.
But they are a land use.
I know
And
they
they
are.
are typically stated as an allowable or prohibited use. Now, they're temporary too, because you
They are
exhaust
temporary,
the
once you
source.
get- that's right.
You exhaust the source, and it's not mining, it's not quarrying, but it's very frequent. So, if it's not addressed in here, should make sure that that's addressed somewhere long term. Or at least have a statement in here, even that borrow pits are not considered mining and quarrying, and is referenced elsewhere.
Right.
Because these things are, it's very important that we do this, but it does happen infrequently. Borrow pits are a couple times a year. Anytime somebody's looking for fill material,
right.
cut and fill material, any type of thing like that. And typically they are permitted, and you still have to get a SWIP, you still have to reclaim the place.
You do.
Reseed, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want us to lose sight of that, because I haven't seen that in zoning ordinance.
But is that not regulated by the state?
No.
It's not regulated by the Mining Act in Tennessee, the Surface Mining Act?
Borrow pit, you can get a borrow pit permit, but I mean, a lot of people just move dirt without a borrow pit permit on
their own land.
Oh, well, even
And
if they're
especially
moving
on-
from one section to another.
Yeah, I mean, like the guy that just came, if you're doing any kind of extensive development, you got cuts and you got fills, and
That's
it's
right.
to level it out.
Right, you do.
And so it's almost accessory to the principal use of construction. But there are lots that are designated for only borrow pits.
There are, I agree.
And TDOT. They're everywhere. So that may be something we just want to keep on the burner somewhere.
Well,
I think there needs to be something addressed about it, that it would be.
and what would that be? I'm not sure I followed yet.
It would just not, definitely borrow pits would not be included in mining, quarrying. Because we're talking about, I know in part of this, it said soil, clay, dirt, limestone, sandstone, gravel.
And what are the definitions?
It's in one of the definitions.
It's
We're
in the
talking about the
definition
material.
of the
Right.
material, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think at the state level clay is even considered mining
Mined
material. It's
material.
not, I know it's not.
A lot of times, I'll give you an example, somebody's digging out footers for a house, and they find organic material that they have to go down deeper. They gotta backfill that to get the
Right.
footings appropriate and level, and they gotta get that somewhere. They buy fill material
I know.
if they don't have it on site.
Yep. I just want to make sure we're not shooting ourselves in the foot with that.
Well, what is it you think we should do then? I'm a little lost.
Well, I think we should address the borrow pit somewhere in this resolution.
And I've got a canned, there's a lot of borrow pits in Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
They do a lot of excavation.
Okay.
So I have a canned thing that's specific for that, and I can dig that up. And we'll look at it, see if it goes in here. If it doesn't, it might go somewhere elsewhere in the zoning ordinance. But it is frequent.
Yes.
It's even on a lot of residential, single-family detached homes.
It is.
Back to, I think this was raised by Brian, or I'm not sure who raised the question about agricultural activities. But if you go back to page 1 under extraction, where we talk about what extraction means for purposes of this resolution, it just says this is what it is. It's removing, pulling, or separating materials from the earth in any manner where the activity involves 20,000 or more square feet. See, and the reason for that is quite simple. We're not trying to tell people they can't move dirt around on their property unless it's a significant nature. Then this would come into play, except it's not relevant and not pertinent to an activity for agricultural purposes or for construction purposes.
That's one of the things I looked at with material extraction. And then seeing on down in material, and part of the definition of it was vegetation, of course.
There's no vegetation in there now. That's changed.
Okay.
It's
Fair
gone.
enough. And I was looking at logging, and somebody,
Right. This has changed some from that draft from last month.
Yeah.
So that's not in the definition anymore.
So does that definition, Chad, does that help with the borrow pit? I mean, I realize borrow pits could be much larger, but at least you're talking about somebody with a farm wanting to strip some topsoil and sell it and build a big pole barn or something.
Mm-hmm.
That would address that aspect.
Right, it would address that here, and not an activity for agricultural purposes.
Yeah, well, and then you have the 20,000 square feet provision.
But this is still a placement
Yeah, but I'm building a pond right now.
borrow pit material, not
I'm building a
obtaining
5-acre pond right now. I've got 2,000 loads of topsoil coming out of it. So that's
Would that-
over 20,000 square feet.
Oh, yeah.
Would that be 20,000 square feet per location? I mean, if you had a 100-acre farm,
Are you building a pond on your farm?
could you have multiple
So that's
20,000?
It's an agricultural, it's an agricultural.
Yeah, right now, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So with this, he would still have the right to sell that because you're building a pond for agriculture.
That's correct.
You have to do something with the dirt.
I got a place you can dump it if you need, if you need to.
I'll be glad to, $1,000 load.
You can't use that dirt for construction purposes, it's got too much
topsoil,
vegetative
Well, no,
material, it's
topsoil.
topsoil.
Yeah.
But it still can't be used for a footer or any of the things that are referenced.
I've actually seen some topsoil around here that probably could be.
I don't want the house that goes on top of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I was just don't want to restrict anybody that's got land from their uses.
I think that solves a lot of the.
And
those
it may very
questions.
well.
All right, let's go back to where we sort of left off with section 4. This is where the developmental standards start for material extraction. And Commissioner Bales, you also had a concern about conflicts with federal and state laws, so I put a provision in here that says those laws prevail if they somehow differ from something that's in this document. It kind of goes without saying, but I think it doesn't hurt to make that statement. So in introduction, right before item A, it says, should any of these standards conflict with state or federal laws, those laws shall control. Now, the first part of the development standards is a buffer strip. And I will thank Ms. Baldwin for most of this information. She put this together, and I'll just hit some of the highlights. One thing is the buffer strip is required on any property, and it has to go all around the property boundary, the entire outer perimeter. In item 1, it says the buffer strip shall be no less than 15 feet in width. Then items 2 under A through 6 is a lot of details that Ms. Baldwin helped with to define what would be an appropriate buffer strip to take place. I'm not going to dig into those details. And so we'll drop down to item B at the bottom of the page, which is where we talk about operations for any material extraction activity. And this says they shall be confined to areas at least 500 feet from any property line, 1,000 feet from the property line of any adjacent property, including across a roadway that is zoned residential or contains a residence. And this is where we're trying to protect the property rights of adjacent property owners to have the quiet enjoyment of their property without the nuisance that comes along with an industrial activity right next to them. Any thoughts about setback requirements? Because I have one I want to add myself.
I just wanted to ask, what drove you to come up with these footages? I mean, what did you come up with that?
You obviously know I didn't pull them out of you. Again, I've looked at other zoning documents for the 3 counties I mentioned. 500 feet in Knox County. Washington County is 1,500 feet for everything, no matter what.
And that was Knox County?
Knox County was 500 all across the board. Washington County is 1,500 across the board for anything.
All the way around?
All the way around.
Oh.
Yeah, for anything. And all I've put in here is 1,000. I've only put 1,000, and that's only, keep in mind, only in the instance if there happens to be adjacent residential property. If there's not adjacent residential property, then that doesn't apply.
I think it would be hard pressed to find 100 acres that doesn't have adjacent residential property around it in Jefferson County.
We're saying you're going to press 500 acres.
That's my next.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you pretty much completely, if this passed, completely stop everything that pertains to this. Let's put it in I-2.
Just that one I-2 is going to stop it.
You're going to stop any possibility of anything in the future being able to be developed and used in this type of way.
Well, I'm not sure I understand why.
The physical limitations of the property that you're.
The minimum lot size?
The minimum lot size and the setbacks and everything else from other properties or other residential is my concern. I mean.
If you've got a 100-acre tract and you've got farmland on 80 acres of it, and you've got one corner of it that's rock that you could use to quarry rock, if it's not dead right in the middle of the property, it's not going to meet no setbacks, period. I mean, so it's going to put it out. I just think rock is a big use. They use it on everything.
Well, there's no doubt we need gravel. I mean, we have to have it.
We gotta have it,
Right.
but this is gonna stop any, I'm just thinking.
Well, I think that's conjecture. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of property.
That would fit and conform
Well,
to what you're asking.
Yeah, I don't know that I can, but I don't know that I can find what you're saying either. I mean,
I guess that's what we're saying, is you can't find a place that you could do that based on the limitations that you put with the offsets. and
well,
everything.
I'm saying that's conjecture.
So-
Do you know that for a fact? I sure don't.
I just asked you where you could find one.
I said, well, I don't know, because I haven't looked for one thing.
That's fine. You
Yeah.
know,
But-
we're just
but it's-
preliminary on this, but
Right, it is.
I have a question, and it's kind of to your point. It says, so it's 500 feet from any property line, and that seems to be in keeping with other jurisdictions.
Yes.
But it says 1,000 feet from the property line of an adjacent property, including a roadway, zoned residential or containing a residence. Do you count agricultural as zoned residential?
No, it's on agriculture, but that's why it says or contains a residence. In other words, if there's a residence nearby,
There's a
we need to
residence on
protect
that
that
farm,
residence.
yes. This is where I'm, let's say the neighbor has a house on his 100 acres beside your 100 acres,
Right.
and it's fairly close to your property line.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna keep you from doing anything.
Well,
Unless it's 1,000 feet off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's within that, so that's it.
So would a way to address that, at least 1,000 feet from property line of any adjacent property, zoned residential, so that's R1, R2, R3,
Mm-hmm.
or containing a resident, or 1,000 feet to the actual
Residence.
envelope of the residence.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be from the line of where there just is a residence on a legal lot of record. It would be 1,000 feet between that
From the
residence
Mm-hmm.
to the activity.
So if your house borders that property, it's 1,000 feet. But if your house is 2,000 feet on the other end of your property, at that point, it's not so much a nuisance that there's a mine way over here
Yeah. But the
You're
way it's,
measuring from house to the activity.
to the activity.
but the way it's written now, it's 1,000 feet from the adjacent property, correct?
It is, the way it's written down.
It's
from
500
property line.
feet from any property.
From any property,
Right.
yeah, but 1,000 from a property with a residence on it.
Right,
Not from the residence,
right.
But for
but
the
from the
property
property
line.
line.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I just want to make sure I understood that.
Right. That is the way it's written.
Okay.
But-
So what are you suggesting?
500 feet from any property line, at least 1,000 feet from the property line if it's zoned residential.
Mm-hmm. That's what it does say that.
Another, or agricultural, or if agricultural, 1,000 feet to the actual residence.
Okay. Well, and that's really, the way I tried to write that was irrespective of zoning. If the property contains a residence, it is residential property. So if we can just say 1,000 feet.
To the actual
as
residence,
a
because if
residence.
it's agriculture, you're right, there's, you're not gonna, you're never gonna have it. And you
Mhm.
shouldn't allow something in writing and then take it away in another paragraph.
Right.
Yeah.
David,
Back forward.
in your research on this, and of course, you noted Washington County and Knox County and the footages that they had in place. Did you come across any that were less stringent than that? And if so, what were those?
The answer is no, but quite frankly, I just, for some reason, picked those three counties
Okay,
to look at their
that's the only
documents.
one-
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't really
I
looking
just
for it. but-
wondered, you know, if we were middle of the road, if we were to the extreme end of the spectrum, and if there was some that were not as stringent, and if they weren't as stringent, what was the driver behind those?
Right.
You know, what,
Well, it may be the population and the actual land area of the county. So
Yeah.
Hamlin County's kind of small county, mostly developed.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of vacant land in Hamlin County.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
For sure, and I don't know about Washington, but it seems like,
Washington got,
Washington is an urbanized
Yeah.
county at this point.
yeah, I know.
but
Between Jonesboro and
there's
KC.
still some sex that's
There is,
heavy agriculture up there.
Yeah.
There is. Okay, sorry for interrupting. I'm trying
You're
to
fine.
digest as we go.
No, this is for discussion purposes. Now, I want to add another setback. And as I've studied the silica dust and the health hazard of that, I realized I probably overlooked something on setbacks, and that would be schools. And I'm debating with myself over how far that setback should be, but if we have a school in the vicinity of a mineral or material extraction activity of any kind, that silica dust concerns me. So I think that setback should be greater than what it would be for a residence, because you have all these children that are going to be in school there every day with silica dust floating across the setback area until it gets there. And what I've read, it can travel 50 miles.
So, your I-2,
Mhm.
industrial 2, do you have, how many properties in the county are zoned I-2 at this point?
Very few.
So the determination about, and this may be a point where conditional uses are, might be an alternative. That should be considered when you zone I-2. Because you look at the other uses
Oh, I got
allowed
you.
in I-2.
Yeah.
So you don't have any I-2, so if someone walks in and asks for I-2, you could say, you know, you're within so many feet of any school, any school. I would think that would come into play in just considering.
And
the
so
zone
that would
district.
cover that, in other words?
You might want to write that in, that, or that consideration, or this could be a conditional use again, and that there can't be a school within, and you said silica could travel 50 miles?
I've read 50 miles, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. It's dangerous.
You know, and, I mean, high school kids, middle school kids, middle school and elementary, you want them outside, so they'll calm down.
Burn up their energy.
Burn off their energy. So it's like, go outside, lock the door, we come on the other side. So that would be a big consideration, I would think, just in a consideration for zone change, a map change.
Right. Stephanie, do we have I-2 zone property?
I'll have to go look. I don't know that we even do. About anything that I'm familiar with is all out-one.
Right.
Which mostly is the mining property.
Right. Okay.
If we do, there's maybe one, I mean, we don't have.
That probably could not meet
No.
these criteria anyway, yeah.
Do you have specific thoughts on what that distance might be for the school?
Well, I'm just digging a little deeper, about, and forgive me for the pronunciation of the word, crystalline silica?
Yep.
Okay. Of course.
Try that other word, that what, I don't even try that one. I get tongue-tied.
That's in line.
It's in a lot of things.
And you look at us in Newmarket, I mean, you let the wind get up any given day and it's
Limestone,
blowing.
dolomite.
well,
Yeah.
it's across Douglas Lake. Where the water's down, honey.
Yeah, but I mean, that lime pile goes blowing, it looks like it's smoke everywhere, and we hadn't had to lime the pastures in several years, but,
So this is a positive thing.
well, I don't, it all depends.
It may not be positive, but it may not be hard to protect the animals, what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the effects that you brought to my attention with the silica. And I think it's short mountain silica, you know, just our neighbor, you know, in Hawkins County and stuff going up 11W, you know, and that's, you can see it from Marstown, Bean Station, Jeremy Creek. big old white spot on the side of the mountain. That's all it is. And here's my deal. I believe we need to have, and I'm just talking off the cuff here. I believe we need to look at doing some things to make it safe and to protect the property rights of others. But at the same time, I don't want to restrict things to the point that if a property owner has materials, to use that one word from the definition list, that could be beneficial to be harvested by him, I don't want to tie his hands to where he can't do something with it if he's got it there. You know, it's like having the money in the bank, but you can't touch it.
Well, that's the whole idea, is to balance the rights of
Absolutely.
everybody.
Absolutely.
What is what is mining allowed in now? What?
It's an I-1.
I-1.
Chad.
I-1,
yeah. And incidentally, there is no permitted use for quarrying anywhere in our zoning resolution right now.
Right.
There's not. There's not.
No, that's the dog noise.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, forgive me. I'll hush. You can continue.
Let's continue on. Let's move on to page 3. We're closing in on the finish line here. The fill dirt question someone raised is addressed in item C. It basically says overburden or fill dirt may be deposited within 150 feet, may not be deposited within 150 feet of the property line. There's a missing word there. I just noticed that. That's supposed to say may not be deposited.
But it says no overburden.
Oh, okay.
Fill dirt may
You're
be
right.
deposited.
It's stated in there.
That'll
Okay.
pass English.
Okay. We've got our English right now. Right. So, overburden or fill dirt should not be deposited within 150 feet of the property line, unless it is to do a required burn. The minimum lot size, I've said, will be 100 acres. Then, item E addresses, in addition to a buffer strip, if there's going to be a burn required. And item 1 under E basically kind of covers the whole intent of all this. And it says the berm design is intended to alleviate, and that's what the whole bulk of this development standard narrative is, to alleviate visual, sound, dust, health, and smell nuisance to surrounding property owners. And item 2 under E just has some distance requirements on the setback if one is required. The last 2 items are just kind of housekeeping items. F says you have to have the site plan approved by the Regional Planning Commission. And then G just says no operation should begin until the site plan is approved, the buffer strip is in place, and the berm is complete if a berm is required.
And then you're proposing like an item H about to address the schools?
We could put that anywhere. We could put it in the operations where the other setbacks are. But I think that needs to be a special consideration, is how do we protect our school and our school children? Catherine, can we go back to the borrow pit and chat a minute to try to help me understand what it is you think needs to go in here relative to a borrow pit?
Land use like this is not just an improvement. Like I know we've run into this before. A structure is you could build a building or a business or this or that. I think there's been a prior consideration that use only applies if there's a building there. Use is actually any use of land. So So, that doesn't mean that there has to be a building there. Like, right now, a lot of commercial areas, at least in the rural area around Knoxville, you see these large areas that they have different types of mulch, different types of rock. There's not a building on site. There might be a little box or where somebody sits, on site. There's not a building, so, but it is definitely a business, and it's definitely it's not extractive, but it's definitely unsightly, I'll say. Borrow pits is, or the ordinance I'm thinking of that would be a statement about the borrowing of material in addition to the placement of material, which has nothing to do with mining. It's typically very quick, maybe somebody doing, you see a lot of it on industrial sites, commercial sites. They're, if they've got any kind of hill and they don't need fill material, they're gonna cut that down though to make a level commercial site. That's gotta go somewhere.
Sure does.
In a lot of instances on a commercial site, they sell that material. You're right about that also. A lot of times they'll tell the excavator, you take it, you sell it. And it's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So, but if you're just doing that on a commercial basis, Joe needs fill, I'm gonna take it off my site and I'm gonna sell it to him. It's not extraction, but it should be permitted. At least a TDEC permit, at least a SWIP permit.
Right.
And everybody's seen these scars where people have gone in and they've taken all this material out, they walk off and leave it. And it's just a raw site. TDEC hates those, but they're in rural areas and they're rarely addressed.
Right.
Now, if you need to get rid of it, then you gotta find a place, then that's placement of material. And both of those, there should be some consideration for, depending on where it's coming from and where it's going.
Right.
So it's kind of a separate little thing. I don't think it should go in here. It is very common. You almost always see it on commercial sites. If they can't balance cut and fill on site, they're selling it.
That's right.
And if it's going somewhere in your county, it may be going to fill a depression, level something out, and it may be just going on a big pile down the street.
Yeah.
And it may be moved again.
And it may be moved again. A lot of, now topsoil, commercial site, they will, remove the topsoil. A lot of times they'll pile that up, but they sell that too, or they'll spread it, and they'll take the usually. So both of those things are commodities. I don't think they go here, but at some point, if there's one in a residential area, that's not something you really want to see.
Yeah.
So it may be something that we want to look at down the road. So I just made a note.
It's a bit longer to be excluded from this.
Yeah, but I think your no overboard burden, your caveat at the very beginning where you said, or is not an activity for preparing land for construction of foundations, footings, cellars, houses, buildings, and other structures. That may cover it unless you go over 20,000 square feet, which is not that hard to do when you're looking at construction sites. So it may be that we add something in here when you go over 20,000 square feet.
Well, no, this applies when you go over 20. That's when it does apply,
and at that
not under
point,
20.
it may be too restrictive for what Jay and I are discussing. You wouldn't want to make, you wouldn't want to set back
We would just need to be excluded from this period, borrow pits, in my opinion.
Yeah,
They'd be
I
excluded
agree.
from this resolution.
I agree, but I think it should be addressed somewhere because
Yeah, well, I agree. It should
they
be.
can be really unsightly and they can be detrimental. If they, get a lot of material picked up and deposited in your culverts downstream. Then the county's got to go clean them out. So.
Sounds like a borrow pit might be totally separate from a mining operation anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I just wouldn't want it classified by somebody later into the mining.
Which currently it's not, so if we address it separate from this later,
It's got a lot of language, overburden.
Yeah.
That's a bar. They're called borrow pits, and it should be.
I think we should look at that, and I think we should look at some less strenuous counties on the setbacks. I'm just not sure that 1,000 feet and 500 feet,
I think it's very limiting, and I'd agree with you on that, Chad. And one of the reasons I think about that, of course, you've got noise, you've got the dust particles, but how far did you say it could travel again if you fact the studies?
50 miles.
50 miles.
So, I mean, if we backed off these footages to 750 or to 600, it's not gonna have a huge impact on stopping that stuff from traveling. If it's going 50
Here we're
miles.
going 50 miles.
Yeah.
We can't go.
It's gonna catch us either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And that might, like I said, lessen some of the restrictions on.
Well, I'm sympathetic to those setbacks and issues and what Commissioner Bell said about, well, you rule out everything. I hope that's not the case, that's not the intent.
Right.
But I don't really understand the dynamics of our land and who owns what and how many acres, but it doesn't seem like as much open space as I see when I'm out and about that a 50 or 100 acre tract is that big a deal. I mean, it seems like there ought to be plenty of those, but maybe they're not.
It's not as many as they used to be, that's for sure. And they're going. There's not many 70 or 80 acre tracts left.
No, and one thing I think that's really of note, if you've traveled to Asheville lately, you want quarries as close as you can get them. So, you know, and the further distance away it is from a place that needs it, North PDOT and North Carolina DOT, trying to rebuild I-40, those high walls are what, 80 foot tall? And they're all stone. And the further the distance that they have to travel to get that stuff, I wonder how many quarries they're having to tag to get that material, and what the radius, the distance traveled is.
Which increases their cost.
Because you're sitting at 2 exits for I-40 and you're not that far. Now, obviously, Cott County and Western North Carolina may be better sources, but face it, quarries are something intensely necessary in this day and age. So you don't want to do something that would, you know.
Boys.
Well, we can't put them out of business.
You
We
can't put them out of
need them.
business.
We need them.
Yeah.
So what would be some less strenuous,
Well, I don't know,
like, do you
Rob.
have anything in mind in particular?
No, I don't have anything in particular. I'd probably just be something, maybe it's brought up at the workshop, I don't know. Is this, have y'all talked about this workshop in your?
We're in the agricultural district, but we did get through A1 today.
I heard there was progress today.
Did we?
I did.
Okay, you did, we did.
We look forward to reviewing it and sending it back to y'all.
They will probably be the one to send it back. And then
That's
we
it.
go-
I get 2 months at the end, so I get it in the workshop and I get it here.
And then Katie will send it back from your commission. So
I did hear some stuff, that there was some good work done today in the workshop. I don't know the extent of it, but I heard it was pretty productive, especially in comparison to some of the others, so.
So there may be some other things too, like reduce the distance, and then on the site plan, you could have a requirement that water trucks shall be available on site for the months June, July, and August, and September, possibly even October. And that if you go for, somehow try to quantify that if you reach this point, you've got to water that site down several times a day.
Yeah.
And people do that on construction sites.
They do, and they do it on a lot of the quarry sites too. I've watched them there.
They do.
Roads with.
It's required.
Yeah, it is.
It's required.
The state
requires that.
They actually have to do the dust test.
Yes.
And do they do those?
Yeah, the state does.
Do they keep track of
The
it?
state keeps
Oh,
track of
because
it.
they have to have a permit to mine.
Yes.
Yeah,
So they have to be in compliance with the
they
state.
have to be in
keep it-
compliance with the state
Yeah.
guidelines, and they do the dust and the water, and, there's pretty extensive, what the state mandates upon them.
That may be the answer to the issue of material leaving the site.
Yeah.
One other thing I'd like for us to just take a little bit deeper dive into is the item D, the minimum lot size shall be 100 acres. Just to look, if we could tweak that a little bit, 'cause as we just discussed, you know, there's not that many 100-acre plus pieces of property, and again, there's, you know, not that many 80, 90 acres.
Right,
pieces of
exactly. And
property.
they're definitely not, I'm gonna say, in an area where they could get I-2 zoning anyway.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying scale it back to 20, you know, but maybe lessen that a little bit. Maybe to an 80 or a 75 acre or 60 acre minimum size, what do you think?
A lot of your 100-acre tracts are actually, they're not rock piles, they're farms.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my
Yeah.
opinion and conjecture, but that's,
Yeah.
I just, to me, that's the biggest issue is you're gonna take 100 acres because you got 20 acres over here on the corner that's rock pile, and that takes all this farmland goes to I-2 at that time. That's just one of the things I've looked at. Anyway.
Well, that's,
And
we're
it may
still
be-
understand the
Ways away
concern.
from that, so.
Right, and it may be, that's exactly right, we are a long way. Maybe your setbacks and you may be able to
So
limit your site, you know, size, your site size with your setbacks.
Setbacks.
Exactly.
They have to work.
Right, exactly, I mean, you gotta.
Yeah.
But Randy made a really good point in that to have a quarry, you gotta have rock material present to begin with.
Right.
And in Jefferson County, I mean, you go to Cobb County, obviously, there's a lot of rock. Jefferson County, what areas of the county do you even have?
Anywhere I run a bush hog, there's
There's a rock, yeah.
There's a rock.
Oh, we've got lots of rock.
A big rock.
But you gotta have a critical
But there's
mass.
not,
We have
there's
Rocky
not a
Mountain.
lot, there's not a lot of areas that would make a potential quarry site.
Right.
There's not, because when you start drilling deep,
And
there's
you done
not.
that, you're going in the mines. I mean, there's wells all over the place, 80 foot deep.
Yeah.
Wish I had one that shallow.
Yeah. It's good and bad.
Mhm.
That might be an answer to the question is how much land actually even has a potential to serve as a rock quarry? I know you got one right now, it's kind of in the news, but we may be trying to address a problem that really doesn't make sense that much.
Yeah. I think we've had some good discussion on this, and I'm not trying to shut it down. I want to ask David what direction you want to go right now with the discussion we've had and the resolution you put in place. You want to work on it a little bit more before the August meeting, and
Well, I would just like to come away from this meeting with a good understanding of what issues we have to work through.
absolutely.
And obviously, there's issues about minimum lot size and setbacks.
Is that it?
Is that it? Or is there more?
That's the two I have right now, but I'm not going to speak for everybody else.
Well, and quite honestly, I think it's fair to say we need to get a handle on what property is really out there in large chunks like Randy's mentioned, and, you know, maybe Catherine's right, maybe we're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Absolutely.
Or is more isolated than.
Right.
Right, and
Basically.
did
I don't know.
Stephanie answer the question about I-2? Do we have I-2 in the county?
I don't think that we even do. I'd have to look. If we do.
I don't know
I don't know. I'd
where
have
it's
to go
at.
through that
Like
map
Dallas.
again. Yeah, go look at that map.
Throw the rest of it.
Yeah, okay. Right back now. That's 2 minute break, 2 minute break.
We're gonna hear a car crank here in a minute.
Yeah, I guess. Somebody's going out that way too. So that's enough. Good discussion. Good discussion. Any other issue? And David, I want to ask you this. If there's an issue comes up, are you opposed to getting an email or a text message or something throughout now in the next meeting that you might be able to look at or address and keep from waiting until then to get it?
I certainly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything on it?
No, I think it pretty much covered it.
Okay. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, do we need a motion on this, or can we just say we're gonna?
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
If we want to postpone this,
I think we probably should take an action, just,
we can take an action if you want to.
I mean, even postponement's an action.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't tie it down to a certain time frame that we can continue to work. So I'd entertain a motion to postpone this item until we have all the information we need to make a good decision. I'd entertain that motion.
That's open-ended.
I'm not gonna have words in your mouth, you'll get this on the road.
That could never happen. Never get enough information.
I think Sue said, did you say it? Sue, did you make a motion?
You just didn't hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I think we'd make a motion to postpone it.
To August.
We can postpone it to August and let's try to get some more of this, stuff resolved on size, setbacks and.
So it's really just two issues that,
Yeah,
I mean,
like I said, I wasn't speaking for everybody else.
I mean, is there
Yeah.
any other issues like buffer strips or any of that stuff, or,
I think the buffer strips are all pretty good.
so it's just the two big limiting factors would be lot size and.
Lot size, setbacks.
Sure, yeah. And then we also want to look too, I think we're to do a little research before we may be just doing
Yeah.
something here that we don't need.
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of have that information. I
I would
think
too.
Well, you've already got
Well,
one, and it's been an issue.
FSA should have that information for us, you know. you've
There's
reported
no
acreage.
I-2.
There's no I-2. Thank you for checking on.
We got one, what was you saying?
She said there was no I-2.
No, I said we got one that's an issue.
You have a quarry right now that I saw on the news over the weekend, so we do have one, so there must be rock here to an extent because we have an operation. One thing that may be helpful is, obviously this is regulated by the state, even if you dynamite, that's a separate, that's a firearms thing that they regulate. I think if you could get a hold of the state regs, so where there are issues that are addressed by the state that we don't need to worry about, I think it'd be nice to know what the state does regulate.
Well, there is a Surface Mining Act,
Right.
and then there's, I forgot what the Deep Mining Act is called, but likewise, there is state regulation over all mining, whether it's surface or deep mining.
Right.
This is really not defined as mining.
But this is
not
this is
mining.
surface configuration that's accessory to a mine.
And if it rises to the level of mining, then it is regulated by the
Right.
state.
So I think everybody would feel better if we knew what the state looked at,
Let
like
me
it does.
reel this back in real quick. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Repeat the motion.
To postpone this to August on the setbacks. We're going to open the discussion again in August.
I've been
You
waiting
didn't
to
hear
do
my
no
second
discussion
either.
for the second. Sue Spring
You
put a second
didn't
to the
hear my
motion. I did not hear it, Sue, so thank you. Okay, do we need to continue discussion on this or are we good? Anything else? All those in favor of postponement to the August meeting, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Thank y'all. I do have a question, and I'll address this to our commissioners that we have on the planning commission. And forgive my ignorance, but I've had kind of tunnel vision for the last little bit with work and everything there. But I know that there was a resolution presented in commission dealing with data centers. Rick, y'all been working on something, somebody's got that in the works. I've heard.
You talk about most recently, we passed a
We
resolution.
passed it
It
here.
an I-1 or something.
Yeah, it had been I-1, but its commission took that up, and they passed, is it done?
That passed commission.
Okay,
The-
they passed commission,
yeah.
when did it pass commission? And forgive me,
January?
Long time
so it's been
ago.
that for back,
Yeah.
okay, forgive me.
The-
I've had it on my mind, I've had it on my
To
mind.
clarify, the most recent discussion was concerning eminent domain. Basically, the county would be asking the state to look into not using eminent domain
Main
for
four data centers in the county.
That's, yeah.
But that's
our
just-
resolution still stands. It was
Yeah,
passed,
ours-
I think unanimously by county commission.
Okay. Good
So
deal.
AI data centers go into the,
I-1.
maybe all of the I's, I-2, 3.
I'm gonna pass you through, I'm sure you all hold on to your minutes and stuff from each one of those meetings. And
All the way back to
if
18.
you have a copy of the minutes from that meeting, I'd like to take a look at it.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind.
I mean, I'm not on me, but.
No, we can make the next meeting and stuff, but I'd like to see that.
Too, and you probably sharper on that part than I am. On the data centers, I think they said there's only like one place or two places in the entire county that could possibly go even if it did come in. Does that sound right? And I think that may have been caused by collapsing electrical needs for
I
data
think
centers.
maybe you're thinking
and
of the
water.
BESS.
Now Bass was over here.
Because that had to be where that transformer came in at Piedmont. Anywhere else, they would have to run lines back to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of other locations that something like that could be done in the county. And stuff. It just has to be in close proximity to TVA lines and substations.
I will tell you, because of the action this body took, or recommended in the action County Commission today, I actually think Jefferson County is pretty well protected from data centers, with exception to, I mean, you know, if the government comes in and says, we're putting one here.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's nothing we can do about that anyway. Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm against that, but I think we've done what we can do.
Okay.
So I did have a question that was brought up by one of the cities. Has the solar resolution that we passed last month, has that gone to the city?
It still goes, I've got Dandridge left, is all I have left. The other two have passed.
Okay.
So it'll go in front of County Commission in September.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, hearts and minds clear, and Chad, I'm gonna have to ask you to hang on for just a minute, because you were on BZA with us, correct? We're gonna pick up that squirrel thing there and go back. Okay.
Can I want to hand this out. This is just going to give everybody an update of what's going on with Gettle.
Please.
Basically, what's happened is Gettle and Gatsby, the property owner, Gettle is not renewing their contract. So their actually lease is up in August. So our time frame for them to be was 60 days, which it'll be probably close to 60 days or a little longer to get their complete industrial operation out of there. So, I mean, it is in the works. I did get notification of that last week from Brad Crenshaw, which is who we've been dealing with. But I have a copy of that if anybody wants to see it.
Okay, so that's kind of taking care of itself then. Sound
Their lease is up when?
Their lease is up.
September.
Hold on.
In about the first September.
Is that just for information that you're?
That was just for information. Their lease expires actually the end of the week, the end of this week. So they'll still be, still have up to August 23rd.
Right.
To make the 60 days, but they can't guarantee everything will be out in the 60 days. So.
They're working on it.
But they're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that. Hearts, minds clear?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Have a proper motion, we have a second. We have a second. All in favor of adjournment, let me know by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion approved. Okay, I would like to go back and open up the BZA meeting for July, and we have someone who's on the agenda. I reckon had just a little bit of trouble getting here, and he is present now, and I'll ask him to step to the podium. I appreciate your patience with us, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Yes, sorry for the delay. Storm gave me a little more debris than I anticipated. Sorry, my name is Dustin Calhoun. I'm at 2504 Valley View Road. I guess in reference to some questions that were raised last time about Flying Squirrel project. Yes, there are several licenses that will go along with this, operating permits through the Tennessee Department of Workforce and Development, who oversees the type of activity, I guess, that it falls under, even though it's self-propelled and not motorized. I did find some information that I would like to change. I believe there was a discussion quickly about whether this would fall under commercial, changing the zoning to a commercial property, because it would have a business license to it for a fee. And please correct me when I'm wrong, because I'm certain I will be. I found some information that says that this could and probably should be maybe looked at as far as the Tennessee Agritourism Liability Act. This would fall under something more like an orchard pick You pick orchard or pumpkin patch. I'm not saying the right word here, but, so for the zoning portion of that, instead of going commercial, I don't know if that's an option to go with the other.
Is there agricultural enterprise there now? Is anything being done agricultural on the farm? Or do you have an agricultural piece of property in the county?
I'm sorry, I don't know that answer. As I've read, if it says or, it says agricultural farm, homestead, or a rural activity.
This property is zoned
It's
agriculture.
zoned agriculture, but
Right.
as far,
Yep.
he couldn't go commercial because there's not anything commercial in that area.
Right, he's zoned agricultural, but it's hard to be agritourism when there's not an agricultural enterprise taking place. We went through a big ordeal a few years ago with that.
Yeah, but it's this type of business where this be permitted in A1 zoning.
As a principal use, it would have, if it's the principal use, it'd have to be rezoned to commercial.
Okay.
Because you're gonna sell tickets, probably, I mean.
Well, it's an online, yeah, it won't be anyone just, you can't just walk up anytime, of course.
Right, but you would be selling the service.
Yes.
The service would be for sale. So the principal use would be a commercial activity. To be agritourism, your principal use does have to be a farm. And then if you have an active farm and you want to do a corn maze, that's accessory. If you have an active agricultural production and you want to do a balloon ride, that's accessory.
Right.
So to keep it in an A1 or, we're working on the A2 zone,
Yeah.
the principal use would have to be a producing farm.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, if there's another piece of property owned that is primarily agricultural, and you own this piece of property, although it's not directly adjacent to, but if it can be put into green belt with your taxes, it's considered agricultural land, you can do it on a separate piece of property where you're not raising 100 acres of corn or
That,
I'm pretty sure. If
You would know more than I do.
Agritourism, the agritourism
I'm
part,
sure you can't tell you yes.
you don't have to have it on the
It
main
doesn't have to be on
farm.
the same legal lot of record.
No, yeah, exactly right. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. So, but do you have an cultural enterprise or anything going on? Do you have a farm?
I've seen several definitions of that, so you'll have to forgive me. I have goats, I have chickens, I have eggs. I mean, I don't know. I have a large garden.
How large a piece of
So I
property?
don't know, I'm
If
sorry,
If
I
you don't
don't
mind me
know.
asking this, how large a piece of property do you have?
5 point,
And everything is on that piece of property?
5.3.
correct, yes. And again, I'm just trying to look for a clear path. I'm not looking for anything, if it needs to be, if it needs to be commercial.
I think that's something we need to look at, and the possibility may be there to do it on that 5 acres of ground. And are you doing anything to sell products off your farm? Is it a
Selling
hobby
eggs.
farm, you selling eggs, selling goats?
It's just eggs. I mean,
But you are selling eggs?
Yeah,
Listen, I've seen 6 cows and 5 chickens pass.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
Say that again?
6 cows and 5 chickens made it to farm.
went to the state
It's,
Supreme
yeah,
Court.
Supreme
too.
Court.
Yeah.
So, we've been down this
It
road.
did, yeah, we traveled that road.
Damn.
Yeah.
How
The
many?
reason I,
6 cows and 5
6'5".
chickens. I said,
But
who's
his
gonna,
kids
I said,
sold
who's
eggs.
gonna police the chickens?
the reason
Go
I-
ahead, sir, I'm sorry.
that's all right, thank you. If it falls under that, that agricultural tourism act, sorry, then the state would offer small portions of funding and advertising. And the liability with this, with one path, of course, there's a liability waiver that would be in place that would keep everyone free and safe of a lot of dangers, all the what ifs. And then, of course, if it goes under the agricultural tourism portion of it, there's a signage that would go up on the property in black and white letters, of course, so warning, again, like a pumpkin patch or orchard.
Ride,
Right, your own risk.
ride
We
the
have
horse.
all the safety measures on my end of things, of course, all those boxes would be checked. There is a daily log that must be kept and up to date. The state does have a random inspection. The inspection takes place annually. If the inspection does not pass, the book is not in place, an annual permit will be void, and of course can't be renewed until everything is in place. So,
Okay. Do you have all that information with you?
I have my version of that. Forgive me, I've rewritten this as well as what you've seen previous countless times because I'm just digging myself deeper.
Well, and
in knowledge
listen,
with
we
this.
want to help you. We want to help you, and if there's a possibility or a way to get this done, we would like to see you be able to move forward with it, but we just want to make sure all your bases is covered before you do.
Absolutely, and I want to make sure they are too, again.
And that's for your protection.
Absolutely.
I think.
It's the, yeah.
Yes.
You know a lot more than you did last month about me even doing homework.
To be fair, and this is just life, but I began this in February.
Right.
So with working jobs and opening these things, I forgot a lot and had to remind myself of a lot. So I don't want to tie up any more time than what necessary, but it does require, there's a dual license that needs to be in place also, that a business license through Dandridge, and it mentions a business license, a Dandridge business license and a county business license. I don't know all of these things. I've been here a little over a year.
County business, so it's
That's-
not inside the city.
You have to have both.
That's how it reads, so I'm just mentioning it
So
because that's how it reads.
even though you're just in the county, you have to have a Dandridge city license as well?
Not if he's not in the city.
Okay, right, okay.
I'm just going by how it read to me, so
Right.
I'm okay with either one of those or both.
Right.
All of these things fall under the amusement device portion of the state of Tennessee guidelines through the workforce development, the ACCT and ASTM. Both of those acronyms I have forgotten all of a sudden, but they do all of the inspections guidelines, and basically they wrote the book for everything for trolleys, zip lines. Even though this is not a zip line, it does fall under the trolley because it has less than a 6-degree pitch in it. It's almost a flat surface as far as the cable goes. If those answered all your questions, I just
Well, the thing would be is that, you know, I guess the biggest thing would be is it permitted in, is it an agritourism? You see what I'm saying? That's gonna be the question.
You?
If it is not something that agritourism, I thought that'd just be a wonderful thing, not so much for state funding, as great as that would be. Again, I'm just looking for a dozen poles or so of 5/8 cable on a small deck.
Yeah.
But the reason I like the idea of that is that if it falls under that, then the state puts me on their website, which puts us on the website of, come and look. They says it's the largest tourism website for the area. I don't know how large that is, but it has different examples. But
It would be great for your campers.
Yeah.
so
There's always something to do.
the idea is, in theory, with the amount of people that proximity to me and Bush's Beans, which according to their website is over 100,000+ visitors a year to see the big can.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of sharing my property and our area with everyone and anyone, with leaving very small, if no footprint behind it all.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I think that's what we're doing. We're following under BZA determined. is his use similar in nature to one of these?
David, you found something, brother. I think, I'm eavesdropping on the conversation now, like was, yeah.
Well, I apologize. I
No,
said
you
you shouldn't have been having
No,
a private
I'm glad,
conversation.
I know, you're fine. That's,
Okay.
I'm happy with the route you're going, I think.
Okay. Well, what I'm looking at, when I look at our current A1 zoning and permitted uses, I see item 9, outdoor recreation activities, including golf courses, driving ranges, parks, athletic fields, and playgrounds. So I think as far as BZA is concerned, we could make a determination if that's similar to an existing permitted use.
And then all these other things, once, because he's not done anything, he just won't know if he can.
Right.
You know, and then
Right.
we can gather all this other.
Right.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I think we make a motion. I'll make a motion that he should be allowed to do this in the zoning that he has in A1.
Okay.
So I make a motion for it.
We have the proper motion, do we have a second?
Second. Third.
Multiple seconds. We got the third and the fourth there. Any further discussion on this? Being none, all those in favor of this being allowable use in A1, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes.
Now you're
Keep
one
it
step
in
up.
Yeah.
Now,
Step up.
one thing is that
We have miles to go.
this is a use allowable in agricultural, which is what they determined. So when you get close, I think a site plan showing your
Yes.
parking, you'll have to have restrooms, you'll have the layout. So you'll have to present a site plan and submit it to Stephanie
Absolutely.
for approval.
Good luck to you, Mr. Calhoun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And you need to advertise on his. It's a synergistic.
I do have something I need. If you can give me, I'll walk to the truck with you when we leave.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay. Hearts and minds clear? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Excellent.
Have a motion to second. Sue, Chad made the second. All those in favor can let me know by standing.